Welcome back, everyone, to 40 Ounce Hip Hop. Today we have albums number 8 and number 7. Really excited about today's episode because, like I was just saying to Kyle, each episode in the top 10 gets more fun with the next one because you're just creeping closer to number 1. And today we have two albums that really served as really two of the biggest breakout albums of the decade that I can think of these two artists who weren't too well known before, but they came out with these huge projects, and next thing you know, they're two of the most popular rappers in the game.
Yeah, man. So we got the Veteran, even though this is his breakout project, only second studio album from JPEGMAFIA. He really solidifies his sense of a veteran approach and really just craft and skill level into the game with this project. And then we have The Waters by Mick Jenkins, which is similar to like AI, man. He is the truth. And The Waters is nothing but the truth.
For sure.
And with that being said, I hope you grabbed your shorties. I hope you grabbed a couple photos. Hell, get something else to drink. I don't care, man. Just pull up with us for the 40 ounce hip hop. As we just said, today we are going to be talking about, well, first on the agenda is going to be talking about Veteran from JPEGMAFIA. Now, JPEGMAFIA was the government, Barrington Devon Hendricks.
What a name.
I know. He was born in New York City, Brooklyn, actually. But he grew up, for the most part, in Baltimore, Maryland. And that's where he claims this is homestead. Because he moved to Alabama at the age of 13. While he does kind of attribute to a lot of his developmental perspectives that had huge developmental influences on him, coming from when he was experiencing a lot of racism in Alabama, and kind of moving around from when he was going from New York, somewhere like New York City, to I believe it wasn't Huntsville, but it was some other part of Alabama.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're in Alabama, but yeah, like you said.
To go into the United States Air Force at age 18.
Yeah.
A lot of things kind of influenced this amalgamation of all these different areas, because while he was in the Air Force, he went to Kuwait, Germany, Japan, which he lived in Japan after he got after he's honorably discharged for like a few years, and then he went to Baltimore, Maryland, because apparently he said the scene there just felt like home. So that is where he claims to be his hometown.
Yeah, I guess first we just should mention about his time in the military. He was in the U.S. Air Force, I believe. I'm not sure how long, maybe 4 years.
I watched his interviews, and I didn't really get like a good number on when he didn't really specify like, oh, I did one tour, like, or I did this. He just kind of said I was in the Air Force. But then with him going around all those different places and him getting out in Japan, and then he moved to Baltimore, I want to say like 2013.
Yeah, I mean, if he's been in Baltimore for a while,
yeah,
and if he joined at 18, so 1989, the year he's born, plus 18, you can kind of estimate like maybe 5 or 6 years.
I want to say so.
In the military. But yes, the reason why the album is called Veteran is because he actually is literally a veteran. And I guess it's kind of has that double meaning going with it too. This is his breakout project, but kind of like what we were saying with Danny Brown and Triple X, like, he's breaking out now, but he's been in the game for a while now. So he's saying like, hey, I'm a veteran to the rap game also. Yeah, is a way that I kind of interpret it. And like I said in the intro, kind of a breakout project for him. I thought it'd be interesting if we started off talking about how we first heard about him and what made us find out about this album. I know for me, the first time I listened to JPEGMAFIA was when Richie with the T from Injury Reserve. I remember he tweeted out a screenshot of the song Germs from this project and said like something like, I wish I could create a song as good as this, something like that. And so that really caught my attention. So I remember looking up the album, and I saw that The Needle Drop, Anthony Fantano, he had just done a review for it maybe the day before, and I saw he gave it an 8 out of 10. I watched a review for it, and he said a lot of things that I look for in raps, like experimental sound or whatever. So then I look further into him, see that this album Veteran had just came out a week before. So that really gets my attention too, because I'm like, okay, it's getting some hype. It just came out. Then I listened to some songs like Baby I'm Bleeding. I think that was the only music video he had out at the time. And then after that, I'm like, okay, I just need to listen to the full album at this point. What about you?
Man, well, I believe the first track I listened to from him was Real Nigga. I'm pretty sure that was the first song I've heard from him, actually. But then, because that, when I heard that track, I was like, oh wow, okay.
Definitely the most noticeable track.
But actually, the track that kind of sold me, because I want to say it was Real Nigga, but I want to say actually the real track that stuck with me, said I need to go listen to the rest of Veteran, was All Caps No Spaces.
Yeah, from a previous project.
From Black Ben Carson. And man, I remember he listened to All Caps No Spaces in the middle of, I was studying for something, and I was in like a public place, and I'm sitting there like, it was like almost like a Panera-esque place. I'm sitting there and I just put down my pencil. I put my hand over my mouth. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, this is so hard. And my beats are like vibrating. And the lady at the table next to me just hears this like, it's like, why does one thing I can't figure, why does every rapper Shady implements is and it just like, yeah. I put my beats down onto the table, my coffee starts shaking. She was like, I was like, all right, yo, this is too ridiculous. And it's funny because like at the end of the song with his friend or whoever's listening to it, it says, yo, what the fuck did I just do? That's exactly what I felt like. I was like, wow, I've been sleeping on this guy and I need to go actually finish up Veteran. And man, it turned out to be one of my favorite projects of that year, and obviously won the decade. But Peggy, I think Peggy has a really strong presence on tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he has a more subtle, reserved kind of, and less lyrically, I guess, inclined approach to certain songs, he still has a very unique style and presence to him. And even from the tracks like Real Nigga, it was kind of like, it was abundantly clear that when he paid homage to ODB, because if you haven't heard the track, it's just a sample of a man yelling in almost like a yodel from something you would see out of Sound of Music.
Yeah.
And but it's ODB doing this, and he looped that yell and added this crazy fast drum pattern, a sample with some bass boosted drums coming in, also something on top of the running pattern. But Peggy's approach to it is disgusting. It's dope. It's aggressive. But it's lyrically still catchy and still memorable. Like, it's something you just can't forget. And I think he had that presence, kind of sets the tone for everything that he does, and also makes you curious as an average listener. Like, you know what? That's that. And then this other song sounds totally different from that. What else does he have up his sleeve?
Yeah, you're totally right, because some songs he does use the quieter voice. The ones that really grab your attention from the album are the ones where he's doing this super, the best word I can think of is just hard. Like, he just goes hard on the track. Those are the ones that really grab your attention with the mic presence, for sure.
Yeah, man. Like, even on the how album starts off, 1539 North Calvert, which for those who don't know, it is a reference, that track title is a reference to the Bell Foundry in Baltimore, which is a recording and / living space for artists, and people do shows there. It's a big frequented spot. Grimes, Dram also performed there too, which is funny that Grimes, of all people, went from the Bell Foundry to freaking living with Elon Musk.
Yeah, for real.
It's like,
what a come up.
Yeah, it's top 5 come ups in the game.
For sure.
But Peggy's not no slouch neither, because the track on here, the intro, the man starts off the verse to this whole project. I need all my bitches same color as Drake. If they not, then they getting rocked. It's like putting Pyrex in the pot. It's like, it was but the way you hear that is like, okay, that's kind of ridiculous. But the delivery behind it, it's just loud. It's unabashed. It is prideful. And like, hey, this is it. This is who I am. I'm gonna say it with my whole chest, and you're gonna. But it flows so well and cohesively with this almost pseudo pop sounding track with the crazy distortion popping in and out with the breakdowns from the drum pattern in between verses. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't want to call it a simple beat, but I do like how the first track of the album is by far the simplest beat you're going to hear on the entire thing.
Yeah.
And I guess it's also worth noting that JPEGMAFIA is not just a rapper like J. Cole and Big Crit and Odyssey and all those guys. He is his own producer as well.
You dare leave out Russ?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Well, I mean, I could go on and on, but sure. I think the production probably steals the show just as much. It shines just as much as the rapping, right?
Oh man, the production piece that's one of the, honestly, the strongest points towards JPEGMAFIA as an artist, I think, for this past decade, because as I said with the ODB homage, it's kind of like he did his own. He took that and he, in the interview, said he was like, oh, ODB was just doing this weird stuff before the internet was even a thing, and like he just was himself, genuine. And I believe it was with the needle drop that it was during that interview he was talking about how how he kind of took inspiration to that, and he's like, yo, this is really dope. But he realized when he was growing up, like in producing, because he was a producer from like age 13 to like 19, I think, but then he started rap. Well, then he was like, I can't afford mastering. I can't afford someone come in and like add all these drum kits or like all these. I can't get all these sample clearances.
All the stuff that separates you from a basic producer to a good producer.
Yeah, so it's like, so I'm gonna have to emulate these sounds myself. I gotta do it from a more naturalistic approach, and also on top of that, to complement my unique sound of rapping, so I gotta make my own sound. I don't want to hand it over to someone else that could make me sound less like what I envision myself to be or who I really am. And I think the production, it really just encapsulates all that. Like anything, even though he says in hindsight now with All My Heroes and Cornballs being out his third album, he was saying that Veteran was more reserved, which is insane.
From a production standpoint?
Yeah, because he said it on Veteran, he would throw things out. He's like, yeah, I'm like, I don't know if people really like that. But it still came across very, very clearly that he is, he put his official stamp and he put his true, I don't know, unique flair. It's like, this sounds like a JPEGMAFIA song. I can now identify people compare him to Death Grips and like MC Ride, which is kind of effed up because
it's one of those things where just because any rapper that's experimental is gonna get compared to Death Grips, pretty
much. And it's funny because even the near drop interview, he's like, bro, I do not look like MC Ride. I was like, you really don't, Peggy. it's really messed up. Like, I get the production thing, but come on, dog.
Yeah.
But I think that just also is a testament to like unique style. And like how much of an imprint you could really possibly have on like the rap game, with being that unique and being that strong, having that such a strong presence in people's mind. Like, yo, he's up there with these guys in terms of being progressive with music here.
It's funny hearing you say this album, you hear it in your first thought is this is a JPEGMAFIA sound. It's funny, this is everyone's introduction to him, but all it took is one album for everyone to say, okay, oh yeah, that's his sound. And I mean, that's what it took for guys like Clipping and Death Grips also, but still, he really made an impact production wise on his first project.
Hell, I don't even rap. I want a JPEGMAFIA type beat.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, just flowing in the background of my go to the imagine doing like getting groceries or some shit, and the next thing you know, just like set, and then just like crazy ass drum patterns, freaking a cheetah's like hissing at you. It's like, bruh, that'd be fire.
a couple lyrics that sample a video game from the 90s or something.
Yeah, bro, it's so funny. He was talking about, I watched another interview, he was talking about Ridge Racer, and then now that he has the song Bald out, and Bald, the beat is a sample from the Ridge Racer game he was talking about. He's like, hey, so he's played a lot of video games. He's like, some Ridge Racer type shit. I was like, wow, that's real progress. 2 years later, you actually took the song. You actually made something out of it. It's just also testament. He's still doing it, still persistent.
Right. I remember on the last episode, I mentioned a fun YouTube video to watch is Ex-Military, every sample from that album.
Yeah.
Even more so, Veteran, every sample. I wish I could remember what the name of the channel is that makes the video. I can post it on Twitter or something, but it's definitely worth a watch because it's just remarkable seeing all the crazy things he samples in here for sure. And then another thing, whenever you hear a breakout project like this, you always want that rapper, you say, oh, I can't wait till he collabs with this guy or he collabs with this guy, because he has that sound and I can just see their sounds working perfectly together. The difference is that with JPEGMAFIA, you're not just thinking about the raps that they're gonna have together. You think, oh, what is that guest feature gonna sound like over a JPEGMAFIA beat? Like when you're thinking of a JPEGMAFIA collaboration, you're not thinking just the verses they're gonna have together, but what kind of production is Peggy gonna be able to create?
Yeah, man, he is a real virtuoso with this, like when it comes to production, because even some of because it's bandstand, like every the channel has like every sample from, because he said there's a Britney Spears sample like in the project. He's like, yeah, I wonder if people are gonna find that one. I'm like, dude, you've already proven your sampling game is amazing, and his production is so poignant that, like Michael said, when you hear other people on it, one of my favorite songs of the last year, honestly, is IDK Freestyle Part 4, and it's IDK freestyling. He had the freestyle series. We haven't listened to it from IDK. It's pretty cool. Really, really good project. IDK is a really good artist. But I love hearing him on that JPEG beat because it's a different sound for him, but it's also a different sound for Peggy as well. It's just it's a more reserved, honestly, compared to some stuff he would use on his own project, but it still has that distorted drums coming in, the heavy reverb bass line that's perpetuating throughout the track. It's all, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know I wanted IDK and Peggy collab, but damn it, I need more. Like, do a whole project for this man. Or like when I hear
Vengeance. Yeah,
Vengeance with Denzel Curry. I was gonna say HPNGC.
QEP Newton Gun Club. Yeah,
exactly.
By Injury Reserve.
Yep, all great tracks. I'm like, that Peggy has production touches on. Like, this is amazing to hear all these people collab. Heck, even just the other day, we listened to a song with Tommy Genesis, and I don't listen to Tommy Genesis like that. Well, I just haven't, because I haven't really known about her. No slight to Tommy, but it's just, even hearing her on that, it was really dope to hear. It was really nice. It's a different type of vibe to it, and he has that unique sound that I think it brings out a lot of different artistic styles from people who he collaborates with.
Yeah, I'm so happy that with the superstardom that he got from this album, that he didn't get shy about making music with other artists, because I mean, we've mentioned a couple of them, but he's now worked with Injury Reserve, Denzel Curry, Danny Brown. He even has a song with Brockhampton now. Yeah. Horror, the HO9909, that metal rap group. I mean, he's not shy with making collabs, but they're all so good. And Yeah, I'm just happy he's used the recognition that he got from this album to continue to reaching out to other artists and making music with them. And now it just leaves us as fans saying, "Oh, can he make a song with Flatbush Zombies, or can he make a song with City Morgue, and all this stuff?" So,
Oh man, I need a JPEG and City Morgue collab. 'Cause that would be an amazing thing to hear. The energy on that one would be through the roof. Or watch it actually be something really quiet. Like, watch that be like the quietest City Morgue song ever. Like what if he takes, because if you, JPEGMAFIA also is a fan of flipping and like kind of like taking lines, flipping songs or like remixing certain songs. Like he has a Carly Rae Jepsen cover, and on the Millennium Freestyle song, he takes the "I want it that way." Like he flips that into the verse and into the hook of the song. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty amazing to see like him do that. I could see him do that with someone like City Morgue. Like, you know what? They're expecting this, but let's throw you on a Katy Perry Fireworks cover. JPEGMAFIA.
Even on this album, he flips "Butterfly Effect" by Travis Scott.
Yeah, he does. And Scrub. He's like, "Oh, I don't want no scrubs." He does really, and which is interesting because he does mention in like some interviews I've seen that he's like, "Hey, I grew up on the internet. Is I grew up on certain sounds and I've kind of pulled all that." And he described Veteran as the album being just the internet. He's like, this is just a product of someone who just indulges on it, and I wanted it to kind of sound like the deep web, if it will. I'm like, and the sampling and the electronic elements of the project that will come through on tracks like Libtard or Whole Foods, with like the way he uses his auto tune on it is almost so much like a T-Pain-esque, but or even I would say probably, yeah, "Baby I'm Bleeding" is definitely it's definitely a hybrid type track that almost something you could hear from I won't say Travis Barker, but almost like a Gym Class Heroes. It's weird. It's odd. It's something. The album just sounds like something that you're taking from generations of, well, this past 2 generations of music, and it's like, hey, we took it, threw it in a blender, threw it in a random number generator, threw it on Kanye and now this is the project.
Yeah. I've heard some people say that if it's your first time listening to "Baby I'm Bleeding," since that was the first JPEGMAFIA song a lot of people heard, that if you close your eyes or whatever and don't really pay too much to the lyrics, just the sound of his voice and his flow, it sounds a lot like an older Childish Gambino song. It
does, actually. It does. I could kind of see on some on the camp, like, because it kind of has UCLA or like Bonfire. Yeah.
For sure.
Inflections. But
one thing I like about this album is just the numerous professional wrestling references. And I mean, there's a lot of rappers like Action Bronson or Flatbush Zombies. A lot of rappers reference wrestling, but I don't think I've ever seen one project as loaded with wrestling references as this one. Because, I mean, he has like the "You Think You Know Me" from Edge's theme song, and he references Mankind and Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and those are guys that everyone's gonna recognize. But even I'm not gonna say guys who aren't popular, but guys who aren't mainstream to non-wrestling fans. Like he mentioned Seth Rollins and Sasha Banks, Broken Matt Hardy,
Jason Jordan, bro, the black man, white fan. I feel like Jason Jordan line. Oh man, that broke me when I heard it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's funny because I knew the line as soon as I heard it, because I try to pay attention to wrestling because my older brother is such a big fan. But Jason Jordan's supposed to be Kurt Angle's son. It's one of the funniest. It's one of the one of the funniest WWE storylines from like 2016, 2017 era. I just love that, like, out of all the wrestlers he could have referenced, like, sure, he has AJ Styles, he has Stone Cold, like, he has very popular wrestlers, but he throws in Jason Jordan.
Yes, they turned Stone Cold into Simple Steve.
Yeah.
It was like, I would definitely feel like his references, even like Run the Jewels makes a lot of people kind of glorify the same wrestlers over and over again. Like a Ric Flair.
Yeah,
like,
it's always
John
Ric
Cena,
Flair and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan. It's like some people like Man, or they may do like Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's another big one.
It's like, because some people like to sample him, but I really do appreciate Peggy kind of dipping into, like, yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit more creative. I'm gonna go a little deeper into the reservoir. And also, Peggy has a very on this project, he does, as a veteran, his stance on politics and kind of I guess the state of the country, it kind of shows through with, and I guess society as a whole, with certain parts, certain aspects, like songs like Libtard Anthem. Is I heard on the street that you're a libtard. Is like, it's
funny because it's political rap, but it's not conscious at all.
It's almost satirical, because it's like, he takes shots at Bill Maher, Tommy Lauren, like, he takes shots at, he's like, oh, I'm alt-right. That's a song, but he takes a lot of shots at the alt-right, or takes shots at
like the
he has
current
a Fox News diss track, not on this project, but earlier in his career, he has a Fox News diss track on, like, one of his first songs he's ever produced.
Yeah, or just calling out kind of young people, like the new wave of young conservatives that hide on the internet or whatever.
Yeah,
and like you said, mentioning he's a veteran, it is a little ironic because I guess the stereotype is
like, you could be super
conservative values as a military person, but he's had a whole life of experiences to kind of shape the way he thinks.
Yeah, which is it's also interesting with songs, and I was even like gun control. It's kind of like,
yeah, he's
very pro guns
for sure.
Because songs Rainbow Six, like, it's reference to Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. If you haven't ever heard of Rainbow Six, then please either read a Tom Clancy book, play the game.
I guess Siege is the current one.
Siege. Please do something with your life with Rainbow Six. But
yes, he loves guns.
He loves guns. So it's like he has this weird duality of, hey, I am not the typical soldier, veteran, or conservative person, but I'm a mixture of both values. I'm pro this, but I'm not that.
Yeah.
Which also kind of harkens back to that sense of individualism that he really champions. But yeah,
favorite tracks?
I think, yeah, as I say, but I think my favorite tracks on the project kind of dabble in both of those aspects. Because 1539 North Calvert was just, when I first heard that song, I was like, okay, yeah. As soon as the opening lines, like, yep, you got me. You got me, Peggy.
And what's the famous lyric from it?
Oh, I need a bitch with long hair like Mike Seatown.
Yes, from Dead in Hip Hop.
Yes, I was like, oh my god. But that song grabbed me like crazy. Thug Tears was a great track. And my third, it had to be Baby I'm Bleeding, but an honorable mention to Curb Stomp, because Curb Stomp is, I think, an underrated outro track, because the production is really crazy. It's very stripped down compared to some, for the most part. Like, it kind of focuses mainly on him for this verse, but when the, I guess, bridge occurs, the way the crazy reverb and distortion comes in afterwards, and the
right when he says, "Baby, I'm crying," and then it kicks in right there.
The third right, nigga, I'm stalling. I'm like, what? Okay, Curb Stop All of My Opponents it's super. It's just raw, like it leaves a message on your head, like, okay, wow, he is coming out for blood on this next project, or he's still kind of going hard no matter what.
Yeah, perfect outro. Yeah, perfect closing track.
But Thug Tears, It's a really catchy crossover, but still kind of him. And it was ironically because the track was originally called "Pressures of the Millennial" of a Millennial, but super experimental soundtrack. It was the beat was crazy. Beat's dope. The little samples like the smoke. Yeah. The Yes Jules moaning like an actress.
Yeah.
Rick Swan, we gotta cash in. Another WWE reference I love because he had the problem with the drugs, and it sat with me for all these years. I'm like, this is great.
It's the one overlap I have with you is Thug Tears. I love he has a few songs on the album where it's almost like part 1, part 2, part 3 within the song, because I love how it starts off with the singing and then it gets to like the super bass heavy beat where he starts rapping, and he just starts spitting like the most gangster lyrics. Like you're just like, oh my goodness, what is he like? It's just so hard. Like he goes, I'm a thug, I don't play with no rap beef, fuck around and up on the back street, I done cried so many times, I done did so many crimes.
Don't kill me.
Yeah, then the sample comes in, don't kill me, and then he goes back in and he's talking about how he's gonna make all these people cry, and then he finishes off and he goes tears, and then the super loud gunshot. I love the way the track closes out. It's so hard.
And one other thing I like about that song specifically is it's also he puts his own flair on like something a super hard idea, and like kind of the split duality. Like when you think of a thug or someone hard, you're not gonna think of them crying. So it's like Thug Tears.
I think it's a reference like the teardrop.
Yeah, the teardrops tattoo. I was thinking that too, but then it's just like I'm making a nigga cry for his dead dad, making a nigga cry for his fat wife. It's just kind of like comical. It's like
it's very silly. Yeah.
Instead of like, oh yeah, I'm got the tear for killing someone. It's like, nah, your fat wife.
The way I interpret the "I done cried so many times" is he's saying like, if for every tear is a person you killed. So I think he's saying like, I killed a lot of people, which is like, holy shit. And then the other two I have real NEGA. I'm not sure if I could say the word if it's spelled differently. Like he said with the Old Dirty Bastard sample. I remember, of course, I've heard the original song, but yeah, I had heard the sample on the song from the original song, of course. But then I remember clipping
the song's Going Down by ODB,
and then I remember clipping sampled it on the song Tell Them Something They Don't Know. And I remember that was a big song because it had Open Mike Eagle on it. It had Sir Benedict the Moor, and it had No Can Do from Hellfire Club. So I remember I used to really like that song, so I knew the sample from it, but I never heard someone rap over it. Like they just used that sample as like an interlude in between the song. But JPEGMAFIA, I know it sounds silly to use the word brave, but like rhyming over that type of beat, just super brave. But I mean, we kind of touched on it a lot earlier. So
brave is a good word.
Yeah. And then my third pick is Rock and Roll Is Dead.
Really?
Yes.
That was one that me and Corey were talking about. Like, because he's like, it could be that in there.
Like I said, with having part 1, part 2 in the song, part 1 is just an instrumental, right? And I think it's ASMR mouth noises or something.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're in a cave and someone's far away and they're just breathing heavily and you hear the echo around you. And to listen to that song in the car is just like, you get a chill up your spine, kind of like, ew. And then he starts rapping, and then like I said with Thug Tears, when the rapping starts, he just goes hard again. He's going with the sauce, got the 4-5 tucked in the bag, and like
with the heart.
Yeah, and tight grip on the chopper, that kick back lie. And his flow's really nice on there, and he's really just rapping about guns for the most part throughout the track. And then the beat switches a third time, and he starts singing about how many cars does it take and all that. So yeah, that was my third pick.
I rock with it. I say that post is off the Richter, and I think this album's off the Richter too. To be honest with you, bro. We salute the veteran Peggy, JPEGMAFIA, but now we need to talk about the truth. You know, the man, the pieces of the man that is Mick Jenkins.
Yes.
Mr.
Jason Mick Jenkins.
Jason with the Jay.
Yes.
Do not forget the Y.
It kind of reminds me of the first time that I realized Shawn Michaels, the wrestler, his real name is Michael Shawn. I think Sean's, I don't know. I just remember it's one of those things where it's like, oh, Mick is his middle name. It's kind of like Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Where you think Lamar is his last name.
It's like Duckworth. It's like,
yes. So Jason Mick Jenkins, of course, from Chicago, now 29 years old, but he was just a very young 23 years old when this album first came out on August 12, 2014. Similar to Veteran, like we said, big breakout project for a lot of people. This was the first time they had ever listened to him. For me personally, I remember I first heard of Mick Jenkins earlier in 2014, maybe February or March in the year, when someone had recommended me to listen to his mixtape Trees and Truths. I listened to it. I wasn't exactly blown away or anything, but listening to it with some highlight tracks, that was enough for me to remember him and to keep him on my radar. Then later in the year, The Waters is coming out, and I remember there's some anticipation for it because he has songs like Martyrs out. I remember Jazz came out maybe a week before. The track list gets announced, and I see that Joey Badass is going to be a feature on it. So I'm like, oh man, this album is really fixing up to be a big deal, it looks like. So at that point, I remember I listened to it the day it came out, and I remember just my first thought after one listen was, this might be the best mixtape I've heard in like 5 years. And I remember the first thing I had to do was the next time I saw you, I was like, Kyle, you listen to Mick Jenkins yet? And you're like, no, who's that? And I was like, bro, listen to The Waters by Mick Jenkins.
Yeah, man. And pretty much exactly what Michael said. He's like, yo, listen to The Waters. And I remember saying this, all right, I'm going to listen to like something. I'm going to listen later today. The song Shipwreck, first song, it comes on, and at first it's a bit atmospheric. It's kind of like, okay. And the mind, I've heard of him before. I was like, okay, this is interesting, but wonder how he comes in. And the beat was just, I started bobbing my head instantly. And then when the beat switched up,
that's where it gets you.
Shipwreck indeed. Because I was like, whoa, what is this? Like, okay. It piqued my interest, to say the least. It was very, and it's funny because I remember sitting there after listening to it, like in its totality, first run through. I was like, dang. I know I got more stuff to do tonight, but I need to at least dedicate like this next. How long is this project? Hour
57.
54 minutes.
Okay.
In 19 seconds to really listening to this project. Yeah. And man, it just really stuck to me. It introduced me to the likes of No Name, Jean Doe. I
think it's Doe.
Doe,
it's French.
Right?
Yeah,
thought
French
so.
name.
Shout out to her and Smino.
Mm-hmm.
But Ebony, and also Jerome with Joey Badass, of course. It was a great track.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just really dope. It was just a really dope project that just kind of, I was like, wow, he's coming with this production that it's almost emulating the idea of being submerged. Because tracks like The Waters is very wavy, it's very relaxed. It has almost something you hear at a freaking Tommy Bahama or Sandals like vibe to it, but then it's still Mick Jenkins rapping his ass off throughout it.
The production's so hard for me to explain, because how can you say a beat sounds like water? Like like you're gonna sound stupid if you say. But you're right. The production matches the image you see in your mind when you listen to it. I don't know how.
It just I don't think it's. You know what? Even though I said like The Water sounds like that, or like Healer specifically also has a really laid back vibe. It's like, because I think about songs like Dehydration or even Drink More. It's like it's like different stages of being lost at sea. That's what it feels like. Okay. Because Shipwreck kind of gave you that impression, like, okay, things are really kind of chill at first, but then things get kind of hectic. But then THC is it's still
one of the chillest songs on there. Yeah.
But then The Waters, Healer, Comfortable picks up the beat. It's like, it feels like you are lost at sea, and it's kind of just going with either how the waves go. And it's like, all right, this is high tide, this is low tide, this is a faster torrent, this is not, but it's all consistent with being water. And with the water, if you listen to the project, and everyone would probably even just Google it, is a representation of the truth, and it's kind of a amalgamation of that. So even though the truth could take many forms, it is still the truth. And I feel like he really encapsulated that idea of like, hey, I am the truth at this rapping stuff. I am gonna say everything that I can and let you know how raw I am, but also get my message across. Hey, I'm gonna bring something different to the conversation than what my peers can. I'm gonna provide you something different that my peers can't. No matter, even though everyone's tried, they call him conscious. And I love this line, like, call me conscious, think I'm Jiminy Cricket. Like, yeah, he's still conscious rap, but he's doing it in a manner that is unique, and it's like I said, the truth, but it's just a new form of it, and his own interesting perspective, especially coming from someone from where he's coming from. Being like, he was born in Huntsville, but then he raised in Chicago, but then he went to school, then he dropped out of school. The dude was on track to be a lawyer, which makes sense why his music is so kind of socioeconomic in like scope, and it has focus, not scope. And it was very, and also his religious aspect of it. Like, he grew up with his school was associate Seventh-day Adventist. He grew up in the church. Loves black gospel music. He has a soulful vibe that you can't really capture. Like, you can't just buy. You can't get that duplicate from someone else. That is his own experience. He puts it in a way that's like, yeah, he is a Jiminy Cricket, but damn, that's a good one to have.
Yeah, and he shares that soulful sound with a lot of other Chicago artists, right?
Right.
Just real quick, I wanted to touch on the conscious lyric, like you said. That bar reminds me of Kendrick Lamar on Ignorance is Bliss, which is one of my favorite older Kendrick Lamar songs. So when I heard that bar, I was like, this dude sounds just like Kendrick, which can be interpreted as only a compliment, right?
Right.
When I listen to this album or mixtape, it's just called a project.
Yes.
When I listen to this project, I know sometimes I come on here and I spew some hot takes or whatever. I speak in absolutes, but sometimes I listen to it and I think to myself, this might be the most well-rounded project I've heard all decade. And so I know it's a scorching take or whatever, but I'm talking well-rounded. I mean, from a rapping perspective, there's a lot of things that go into rapping, right? There's flows, there's lyricism, there's rhyme schemes. He has all of that on check. Like you said, he talks intelligently, socioeconomics, utilizing guest speakers, all that stuff that goes into rapping, he has it. But then on top of that, the production, I know we mentioned the production, but I'll just reiterate, every beat on here is fire. And then the hooks. That's what really takes the whole well-rounded part for me and like completes it, because every single song on here gets a really good hook with it. I remember the second time that I listened to this, like I listened to it full listen, and then the next day I listened to it again, and I remembered every hook. And I'm the type of guy who it takes a couple listens to start memorizing lyrics. But I remember second listen, I already remember, I'm gonna get you high. Thank God for the waters. Yeah. You feel like water, baby. Like, all of them were just coming to me immediately. And I mean, they're not super complicated hooks, but it just shows how hooks are supposed to be catchy. So it shows how successful he was at creating these hooks on the first listen.
Yeah, man. One of the hooks that I didn't expect to really grab me was like, I ain't talking Yves Saint Laurent. I've been on Saint Laurent like a motherfucker. Like,
yeah.
I've been the 514.
Yeah.
Yep. My French getting too clean. This is track 514 for those who haven't listened to Mick Jenkins before. And the reason why I say that is because, like the ones that Michael just listed, those are tracks like in the like vibe on this project. I remember first hearing that, I had to run it back. I was like, I gotta play that song. This is just such a catchy, chill hook. But it's not like, think about Mick Jenkins with this hook writing. It's not that I don't think he's trying to make it like a pop song, or like, it's not catchy in that sense. It's just flows so well with what he's trying to do in the ambience, because that is the thing with this project. It is a very ambient sounding project. It's great for different types. It's great for a certain mood. I mean, you can play it whenever, honestly, but it's like water, takes many forms. So it's just, you could play it and have it in the background, and these moods will kind of permeate what you're doing. It's like, dang, like I just want to vibe now, like, or jazz, like that weird, just that crazy,
very
distortion.
slow.
Like, very slow. Gives you like a pensive kind of vibe to it. Like, you know, what is, they're talking all that jazz. It's like, dang. It's like you do something like, dang, what the fuck is this? Why am I doing this? Why is this really what's going on? He really captures whatever, I guess, mood, and he really is really talented at meshing both mood and message, I guess, between his like projects and between like the totality of this whole project. It's very cohesive, and it flows like water. It's like I don't feel like he really made the perfect thing to describe water.
Another thing that I noticed re-listening to it a lot recently is the kind of lyrics that didn't mean anything to me at the time that I listened to it, but it means something to me now. On Comfortable, No Name is featured on there, and she's an artist that was in consideration for a number 20th pick in our list with her album Telephone. She has a lyric where she says, "Telephone never coming out, what's the holdup?" And it's funny because at the time in 2014, this is the first time I ever listened to No Name Gypsy. So that lyric meant nothing to me. I wasn't anticipating Telephone. But then it's funny now that I'm someone who, in 2016, when it finally came out,
like,
2 years after she rapped this, it's like, oh, okay. And then another group is when he says, "Know that what I'm holding is golden." And then in the background he says, "Hurt Everybody." And so Hurt Everybody is Chicago group with Superboy and Mulatto Beats, and I'm forgetting the third member's name, but they were 2K47 was the name of a project that they had, I think, in 2015, and that's a project that I used to listen to a lot. And so, but at the time of 2014, it meant nothing to me. So, and those two lyrics that reminded me of these Chicago artists that I became fans of after this album, it got me thinking. So I want to hear your opinion on this. What's more important, which project was more important to putting new Chicago music on the map? Acid Rap or The Waters?
Oh, shit.
And of course, Acid Rap came out in 2013, so it has a 1-year advantage.
I'll probably say Acid Rap because Chance became more, especially with songs like Juice. I'm gonna say Chance more, just because I think Chance had a big push behind him.
Yeah, he got bigger
with the cosigns.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say Mick Jenkins solidified that like new sound, kind of like.
Chance started in 2013 and Jenkins solidified it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, these Chicago rappers coming through with something crazy. Like, they are. I probably had to say it would be. I'm gonna give it a chance just because I could go around and ask people more, but hey, you listen to Acid Rap? Like back in the day, I would be, oh yeah, you listen to Chance? I mentioned Mick Jenkins. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. Like who? And then listen, like, oh, he's dope. But then they're probably going to play Chance more.
Okay.
Because Chance's vibe, I think, with that eclectic sound on Acid Rap was more marketable, I guess. Because they also it's kind of like turn up tracks, and also like more lively tracks than The Waters. But as you obviously tell with this list, The Waters stood out to me more. And I think, like I said, helped solidify that new Chicago sound, because for the likes of like a Saba or whatever,
Saba and Vic Mensa are both on Acid Rap too, right?
Exactly.
So you could argue some other guys who got big from Chicago were featured heavily on Acid Rap too.
Yep. Wait, wasn't No Name on No, she wasn't on acid.
I know she's on Coloring Book, but I don't know if she's on acid rap.
I thought she had like a credit thing on acid. But I don't.
They made a song together. I don't know if it was on Surf. Man, I'm forgetting the name of it. But they have a song where they go back and forth.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to remember.
I'll look it up as we talk about our next topic.
Yeah. But going back to like lyrics that did mean like to anything to you at first, but then you look into it, like on Drink More song, like 79th and Phillips, hope you brought a Phillips because niggas like to drill here, won't cut it like a flathead or with a flathead. 79th Street is one of the most dangerous streets in Chicago. I didn't put that together apparently, so I was like, oh wow, 79th and Phillips, hope you brought a Phillips. Yeah, because Phillips refers like a screwdriver, but also is the cross street of Phillips.
Mm-hmm. And then drill being a genre of trap music from Chicago.
Exactly. And then cut it with a flathead is like, Jesus, Mick.
So No Name does have a feature on the song Lost on Acid Rap.
I thought she...
And the song we were thinking about was Israel Sparring.
Oh, I love... Yeah.
Yeah, that's the song we were trying to think
I'm disrespectful. Oh, my God. That was...
we both,
it's been a while.
We're both fans of it, but it's been a long time since I listened to it, for sure.
Because that song was... If you haven't listened to Israel Sparring by No Name and Chance, please go do that.
That's one of my favorite collaborations of theirs.
Definitely. But I think, we've encompassed pretty much what the Waters can be. I think anyone who needs to listen to the Waters or who would like to listen to the Waters, because even if you don't like Mick exactly, the production on its own, like even if you're not listening to it as heavy enough or you're not looking, I think the production and Mick's presence on the project will allow you to gravitate and can literally just float around and listen to it. Like certain things will float in the back of your head, like feels like water, baby. Like certain hooks will just stick with you, or even just the sounds of the instrumentals will kind of stick with you. With production for like Kirk Knight, Cam Obi, Stack Selecta on Black Sheep, THC did well on THC.
I know plenty. This is still by far his most popular project, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think, like sometimes I always joke with you. I call it the Friday Night Lights effect. Like with J. Cole, where an artist releases a project so good early on in their career that even if they release other good projects later on, just because it's not as good or maybe it sounds a little different, you feel disappointed even though it feels good, because it's like, oh, he'll never drop another Friday Night Lights or whatever. I think the Waters kind of suffer. I think Mick Jenkins with the Waters kind of has that.
No, I definitely agree, because even though it's just he set the bar so high coming out,
for sure,
that anything below it is kind of like, it's like I said, it's still quality, it's just not as quality. It's kind of like, but it's not even as quality, it's just not it's not gonna be received the same way as it would have if you didn't set that precedence already, or people didn't latch on to it, and the longevity and shelf life of that first project. Because a lot of projects, they could sound good, but it's just the shelf life is like, I was like,
it was
cool.
Replay factor.
Yeah, it's like, but it doesn't sound good in 2020.
Yeah,
like, it sound great in 2014, but it doesn't sound good now. But songs like albums like this, it's timeless, honestly.
And one last thing I want to bring up before favorite tracks, then we can jump into favorite tracks.
Gotcha.
But so I'm looking at the top 20 list or our full list, and this is the second highest mixtape that's officially listed as a mixtape. Our number 7, so next episode. But the funny thing is our number 7 pick in my mind, like I don't view it as a mixtape because
of the I know exactly what you're talking about.
It brings into conversation of how we kind of view, and it's all silly nomenclature anyways, but this is technically the second greatest mixtape of the decade according to us, even though in my mind since I don't view number 7 really as a mixtape, even though
it's like
it is a mixtape.
It's a mixtape.
So I do view it as the best mixtape of the decade, but like I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
In my heart, it doesn't feel like a mixtape.
And for the love of God, for those who are listening, it is not More Life. Please. Do not put that on our names. But I know exactly what you're talking about. It's finicky. It's semantics at the end of the day, but it's just we kind of gotta respect what the artist views it as, or like what it kind of is, or also what is the classification of a mixtape, or even like a EP or LP. So
is ex-military considered a mixtape?
I think so.
That's so I guess that means number 2 is The Waters. Number 3 is ex-military, and then number 4 is Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, because then 5
I think Days Before Rodeo is the other mixtape we have on here.
Yeah. It was funny. I remember when we were making this list and we were like, "Oh, no ceilings," and then it was like 2009.
Yeah,
we were like, "Oh, well, there goes."
Yeah,
that one. For you guys that think we don't like Wayne.
yeah. All right. Two favorite tracks now.
All right. Do you want to go first? Or?
Sure. So I had Shipwrecked. Mm-hmm. That I had 2 no doubters. Shipwrecked was one of them. Like we mentioned earlier, it's really the beat switch that steals the show on it. I remember, you said your first experience with the beat switch, but I remember when we showed the song to a friend of the show, Carlos, because it was kind of me recommending Mick Jenkins to you. Next, it was like we both listened to it. We needed someone else to tell. And so we were like, Carlos, go listen to it. And we were like watching him listen to it. And I remember when the beat switched, because I can see the little ticker at the bottom of how far he is in the song. And like, I see him lose his mind. And like, you and I just knew, like, oh yeah, he just got to the beat switch part. And then, the lyrics too, with I still remember when my baby lungs blew them trees. I still felt like a saint when I drew that breeze. On the corners was I hanging, never banging, but I knew them G's. Like, he's got bars on this song. And then the sample at the end with the 10,000 tiny soldiers marching right through my heart, couldn't keep me at bay. I don't know, it might be my favorite Mick Jenkins song of all time. The second no doubter was Canada Dry, which isn't most people's go-to Mick Jenkins song, but it's always been one that I've really loved. Mick Jenkins loves ginger ale, I think because it's a water-based drink, but really that's most drinks. But yes, he references ginger ale a lot. I'm assuming that means Canada Dry is his go-to brand of ginger ale. But the song itself is just this super chill beat. It's the song that you listen to when you're driving around at night, just chilling and vibing. That's what this beat makes me. That's where the beat takes me to when I think of it. And then, but even just with this super chill song, it's not the song that really goes in like Shipwrecked, but it can be a chill song where he still brings it lyrically. And some of the bars on here are just so nice. With the one where he's like, rock the boat like Aaliyah, hit the high note like Mariah, or whatever. And then there's the mama wouldn't like the way I smell right now, run through the city like a black Tom Thibodeau, like Stallone, we all still expendable.
Yeah, he was in rare form on Canada Dry
for sure. And then my third one, there's so many candidates for the third one. Ultimately I settled on THC. I was shying away from it at first because it's almost like a come down song, even from Shipwrecked as the second track, because there's no rapping in it. It's just the hook, and then he talks for like a couple sentences, and then it's the hook again. So like in my mind, I'm like, oh, is it really a song? Is it an interlude? But when I think about it, it's probably my third most listened to track. If I'm not listening to the album from front to finish, I probably listen to Shipwrecked a lot on its own, Canada Dry a lot on its own. But then THC is probably my third most listened to. I love the way it comes right after Shipwrecked, like I said, with the being the calm down from it, and just, I'm gonna get you high. So yeah, that's my third pick.
Jeez, I'm honestly, we have Shipwrecked as overlap. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, as expected.
Same reasons, and I also got to touch on when we showed it to Carlos. It was really funny because I remember him. So I think I lent him my headphones. So like even with, I'm like, Brad, you need good headphones. Like great.
Yeah, I remember you're like the only one of us who owned super nice Beats at the time. Yeah, so there was a hot song we had to listen to. Like Kyle, hand me the Beats.
Shows how far we've come.
Yeah,
it's just like I remember giving him the headphones, and the song ended. He's like, bro, I need to run that back. Like, so I got to hold on to these for a little second. And Shipwrecked, it was just such a great opening track, and like in the bars, from the bars to the sonically, excellent. Now another track that I really like is Black Sheep.
Okay.
I really like Black Sheep a lot because the beat is really soulful. It's really chill.
Is that the Static Selecta one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Static Selecta killed it.
The thing is he's an East Coast guy, right? So he's mostly producing for New York rappers. So when you're listening to this project for the first time and you hear the Static Selecta at the beginning, you're like, oh.
Yeah, I was
that gets your attention.
And I was like, okay, because I was associated with Joey, so I'm like, okay, what's going on with this? Like, how's it going? And man, and I do it for the love, praying for my people, see the one above, show me the love. It's just really, I don't know. It's a song that just hits me every time. It's like a freshman on varsity, where your letterman at, ginger ale on the rocks, where your gentleman at, is like battery pack, but I'm better than that. Food for your soul, Harris chicken stack selector, batter the beat is like, it sounded so effortless. Young Mozart with more keys, Black Sheep with a gang of wolves before me, they think we homies, is like, it just came off. And I love but keep hearts and shoulders colder than low key. I be no Thor, bring him more of this halitosis. I was like, bro, I see what you tried to do there, but it just came off effortless and great.
For sure.
And I love that. I love the beat of the song. I love the outro. Excuse me. It was James Baldwin, Kevin Clark. Great outro song. And it sounded like something, it honestly could have ended the whole project with that song, to be honest, with Black Sheep. But then that kind of leads me to my third favorite. I'm gonna have to go with Vibe, honestly.
Okay.
Because Vibe, it's just such a vibe. It's just so. It came across like Pendleton sweaters for the letters on some cool shit. All the written rap and Woolworth. It's too cold. It just, his flow was just really well. His bars were just not stop. It seems like, and I think also one thing with Vibe. It's like, yeah, it's a chill song. Yeah, it could be a smoke song if people like this vibe with it one time. It's like hit this joint, and then it could be that. But at the same time, he's not sacrificing his lyricism or the flow of the project as a whole, or the atmosphere that he's creating.
No doubt.
For just to create this smoke song or this chill song. He's keeping himself, and he's still doing everything that we expect him. And I love the breakdown at the end, how it's kind of just slows down. It's that tempo switches up. It's almost like being intoxicated. It's like, oh, whoa, now just vibe with a nigga one
That's
time.
funny because he says, I won't have you on your ass.
Yeah.
And it's like
at the end of the song, it's like, but I just love it. It was really, I remember that song I was like, yeah, that's probably the song that and Black Sheep, 2 songs I probably go back to the most. Shout out to Comfortable too, though, because Comfortable, I love No Name Gypsies. The dynamic between those two, and No Name Gypsy hopped on and killed it. Great track. And the beat is just heavenly. Sound like something out of like Sega Nights or some shit. It's crazy.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, just a little like the choir. Let's say choral. The choir popping in and out. Like, calm down, nigga. It's golden. Like that sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. But yeah, man, those are my 3 favorite. And if you don't believe in us, if you don't stay hydrated, I don't know what to talk to you. I don't know if I can talk to you.
We're hydro homies.
Yeah, man. It's like, stay hydrated, drink more water, and
listen to the waters.
And listen to the waters, man. Flow around. It's like as Bruce Lee once said, be water, man.
Yes.
And Mick Jenkins is the embodiment of that, of being water. But I think we've dissected the pieces of that man.
Yes.
And I think we saluted our veteran JPEG Mafia pretty well. So
respect our troops.
Always respect
number
troops.
8.
Yeah, number 8, But I think that's it for today.
Yeah, and then next week we can talk about the greatest mixtape of the decade.
The greatest, which is gonna be funny to hear what people are gonna think about that one.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, guys.
Until next time.
Stay hydrated.